Hey everyone, happy weird new year. Good to see you all. Even if it isn't a little 1 inch or 2 inch by inch square. Looking forward to seeing many more of you in live and in person fairly soon, maybe this week as we get rolling with a few appropriately sized groups, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I'm just gonna let everybody in here. Oh boy, a bunch more. It's like when a Halloween when you didn't expect so many kids. Okay, I think we're just about caught up. Wow. So yes, crazy new year. Hopefully not so crazy on the running front, though still filled with excitement. So yeah, a lot of stresses, a lot of challenges, but hey, at least we've got running, right? So that they can't take away from us. At least God forbid they ever do. I'm just admitting a few more. Oh boy. So I'll have a few pages of you here. Yeah, so as you all trickle in, let me take this opportunity to thank you for coming tonight and express with great gratitude how appreciative I am of you giving us and granting us the opportunity to be involved in your running journey this tumultuous season. I'm sure it'll be exciting and interesting, but you know, we'll find our way through. Hopefully there will be a pot of races at the end of our training rainbow here in a few months. But even if not, I think we'll emerge stronger runners, smarter runners, and appreciate and enjoy our running a little more than we even do now. So no downside. It's a win-win to get things rolling. Just a few more as we get through. Yeah, so as I mentioned, good sized crowd. I can't see you all on one screen. So let's use Zoom rules. Try and keep your mic muted for now, at least at the outset. I'm gonna hog the spotlight for a bit to get through some, what I think is vital and important information. And then I hope to have you guys take over a bit more with questions and some contributions along the way. Okay, so, and yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna be recording it. So for those that aren't here, they can peruse through it at their leisure, and please comment liberally in the chat box, okay, whenever something strikes you, because I am going to save that transcript of sorts and review it after in case we don't get a chance to get to everything in the Zoom. Okay, so simply put, we have 3 things to chat about today. One is how the coaching will work, and I mean that both in person, like actual live in person coaching and in small groups. Sorry, wow, busy front door. And I also mean that, and it may play a larger role than we even hope or expect, in virtuous e-coaching. So I want to kind of go over some of those things to make sure we all understand how those work. I did want to take some time to delve into the V.02 training plan concept, and some of you are a little familiar with it. Others, it's brand new, and you just got your plans, going in the last few days or last couple of weeks of the holidays. So you may have some questions, and we hope we have the answers. And there's some sort of baseline, rules and regulations and sort of rules to play by that I'd like to review with you as well. So we're going to go through those. And the last one is to delve into this whole concept of our new MDI Run Crew and sort of what it's all about. Why are we going there? Why do we have this? Or why are we bringing this into existence? And clarify some of the tricky points, if there are any, about how to join and who can join and what that means. Okay, so those are the 3 things we'd like to chat about today. Just before we do, yeah, I think we can all agree it's been a rough time, and especially a rough start to the year. With lots of stress and there's challenges both at home and at work and the whole rest of it, maybe even with running. So I think we've all used a good laugh. Yeah. So with that, hopefully you can see here, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if this works. Share screen. Let's try this. Can everybody see a big purple screen? Yes. All right. Make sure your audio is on. All right, here we go.
Nothing's away forever. We stay all here on a closer inspection. How we take our direction. That's why the blue box is here. Ain't this last job as a bright shining hand. That's the top 3 bottles are part of the plan. It's a new way of living. Let's take it to heart. Every cycle. What did we all do our part? Give your blue box that full sensation. Moving us down for the next generation.
Just in case you didn't know what you were watching, one quick more time. I apologize in some ways, but maybe not. Oh, it's still playing. I thought I shut that thing off. 1 sec. Go away. Yeah, so that we came across that that old VHS tape from a long time ago over the holidays. So I just threw it on I got it converted because it was just too priceless. 30 plus now years ago, that commercial debuted in the Super Bowl, and I was in university. So yes, you can imagine how I didn't get many dates, actually any dates for the rest of that year at University of Western Ontario. I was the blue box boy for the rest of the year. So there you have it. Prescient, knew about environmentalism before it was really a thing. So hopefully that's a little bit of an icebreaker on all the stress. Certainly we enjoyed going back to memory lane. All right, so let's get busy. So we wanted to talk about personal coaching and intensity workouts, right? Get our head around that. As most of you know, some of you have already been a part of them, we have 5 small coached intensity workouts set up throughout the week, 10 runners per coach for the most part. So I'm just letting another person in. And yeah, and so we should be able to do this if we, adhere to a few COVID strictures and cautions and that kind of thing. I would say before the workout, you've got to really be honest and assess your symptoms or potential symptoms. And if you're feeling anything that could be, bad cold, feels like it could be, assume it is, and don't go to the workout. And that is, unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with that on and off. We already have had to deal with that, both in real and imagined, I guess, context. So be careful before, during. I guess our warning would be maintain your space before, and especially before and after running. Avoid physical contact. Sorry, I'm just muting another screen. Avoid physical contact during the workout. And the biggie, and maybe the hardest one to think about while you're working out, is avoid, I guess, be a draft dodger. That's controversial than it used to be. Yeah, stay out of the draft. And that means a good 5 to 10 meters back of any runner you're directly following. Okay, so a meter to the side where you can't touch anyone, that's fine. And I think we'll be good, because the nature of speed work when we're doing it is, we're trying to get at our own paces, so we aren't really clumping together. And if it's going to happen, make sure it's no more than two people generally, or 2 or 3 loosely sparsely grouped group. Yeah, and so now if you don't attend for any reason, plan to run plan, make sure that you do, well, I guess 2 things. Email us if you can beforehand to let us know you're not going to be there. And treat that as an opportunity to switch right away to virtuous e-coaching. Take a breath, take a moment to think about it. What is going on with my training? Is there anything I have questions about my training plan, past or near future, my training itself, current runs, or training related aspects about the process in a larger sense? That's you're basically switching to e-coaching, virtuous e-coaching for that week. So one way or another, communication and contact, we are trying to help you, stay in tune and in touch with your running. That's the idea in the flexible progress forward. For virtuous e-coaching, when you do it ad hoc, or if that's what we're doing at the outset throughout the season to begin with and throughout, make sure we're linked, not just with VDOT, which is almost for sure if you're a marathon, half marathon type runner right now, because we're doing pretty much all the plans on that. But make sure we're connected by either Strava or Garmin Connect, if possible. Maybe Coros is one other one, but yeah, hopefully by those two, because those are the ones we deal with most people on. Yeah, every week, once a week, there's your email, your connection to virtuous coaching. And we manage by exception on this. So your email, tell us you're engaged and you're invested in the process, and what, if anything, you can do to improve or handle issues as they go. If you don't reach out, we have to assume things are going so amazingly in your running life that there's virtually no question you could ask. Okay. And even if that is the case, heck, let us know. We want to share in the highs as things are going amazingly. So really, there's almost no excuse not to email. Okay. If you're going to switch, or if you're always in virtuous coaching mode. The only exception would be if you're at silver level coaching or e-coaching plus, then you do both. Or you can come to the workouts and also have a virtuous e-coaching exchange. So yeah, for most of us though, it's one or the other, but not both, but always one. Okay, so that's how we stay in touch every week. So just wanted to make sure that's semi-clear. And one last thing for everyone who's working with us as your coaches, or even just as we've designed a plan for you, there's a few of those. Make sure that you're always titling, like editing the title of your workout, whatever platform you're on, with MDI jargon. Okay, so that if it's an OMP or a Hilly OMP or a tempo or a cruise tempo or an LSD or a race pace, title it as such. Okay, so that's good for you and you're looking back at your own running world. But it's so helpful to me and to any other coach that's looking to review, modify, and analyze your training, because think about it, we're dealing with many dozens of these every week, sometimes many dozen per day. So it's very helpful to cut through that, not be a detective on that part while we do our real magic, if there is. So yeah, that would be one last thing. And of course, when you get to the end of the season, the more notes that you've thrown in there and the better organized things are, the easier that reality check process that we often, not always, try and do at the end of the season before your big race is going to be, because we'll just have more information at our disposal, better organized. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. One last thing in the coaching, as I hope you saw last week, either in a Facebook post or on in the last email. Sorry, still people coming in. We put the Sunday run gatherings on hold, and it sucks, and I hate to have done that, but and we hope to start up as soon as possible, whether that's in a couple of weeks or, God forbid, a month or two. We hope that we'll get that going again, and just so stay tuned and we'll let you know. Of course, you're welcome to run with others, hopefully in a very smaller group, at your own discretion. Just consider the reasons that we're choosing not to. Obviously, we don't want to be responsible for being a conduit for how that COVID or Omicron, getting through anywhere. But if you think about it, we can't control the size of the group. Generally, we don't know if it's going to be a giant group or not. So we can't gather in that context. But also think about the nature, and this is what I did on my own personal side, because I have someone with a compromised autoimmune condition at home. Think about it in the nature of the long run. Unlike speed work, where we're focusing on our own target paces, it's kind of the reverse with long runs. We're kind of common denominatoring it. We're trying to run in as big a group and together as much as possible. And so and especially when your mind and your conversation goes places, it's hard to get out of the draft. I find myself there. So that's why at least for the next couple of weeks, hopefully not too much longer, I'm making that decision. So yeah, just do with that what you will. And of course, you're all big boys and girls, so you'll make that decision. Okay. And just a heads up, sort of a teaser for when we get back to it. As soon as that happens, we've now got 2 groups. We hope to. We've got pretty much all the groundwork done, not just our regular West End group, the Humber, Lakefront Promenade area west of High Park, but we also have a burgeoning group about to start, we hope, just COVID pause for now, up at the North Toronto Community Centre in Midtown Toronto, Eglinton Avenue, Yonge area, if you know where that is. Yeah, so a couple of our coaches are helping to do the groundwork on that and get a crew together for there. So you'll have some options, and a little longer after that happens, we've been in discussions with a restaurant, not a chain, but in Toronto, there's a couple locations called, I think it's La Vecchia. They have locations within 400 meters of both of our spots, and are very keen. I guess the owner is a runner and is interested in, of course, having runners come on in after their long run. So we're working on that, and that will be in place. Obviously, it'll be a ways because it'll be once restauranting and gathering after runs is a thing. Okay, so lots to look forward to on that front. So let's get in and dive right in, if we can, to VDOT. Okay, because I know we've got some help with us here. Some really intent mobile phone app users. That one of them has to leave, I think, at 7:30. So I want to make sure we have a chance for him to impart his wisdom if it's necessary. Because I'm not much of the mobile side of it user. I do much more of my stuff on the computer. But yeah, let's have at it. Big thing to know and to realize about when you get your VDOT plan is that you can use it as much or as little as you, almost as much or as little as you choose. You can use it just as a training plan, put it on your computer and you see it that way, and that's fine, and that's it. And most of you are using Strava and Garmin and things like that, so it automatically logs your training, and you can of course add to it after the fact. You can use it as a training log. That's certainly fine to do that, but there's no requirement to do that. Okay, and in fact, I'd even go so far as to say you can do it, but I almost prefer you do the other stuff as your log, your Strava and your Garmin Connect, because of a few operational things that, and because I've spent so much time, I'm already there in Strava and Garmin so often. So you can use it that way, just as a log, and let your log, do any form of other online log. Others prefer to kind of go old school and print out their plan like we used to do in the olden days, and maybe they keep a written log, or they just do the plan written and let the computer log happen. Either is fine too. If you do that, when you open your plan on the computer, up in the top right of your screen, you'll see 3 dots. There's a toggle there, and you can just print. And you can print a month, you can print a few weeks, you can print the whole plan. Away you go. So if that helps and you want to work with your plan that way, that's great. The only thing about that is it doesn't print out all the notes. So you might use that as your big picture, and then week to week, check into the notes about especially key or bigger, like biggie workouts, important workouts. So you can use it as in a more old school paper way. And then finally, there's, as I mentioned a bit on the segue here, there's others that prefer a more technologically robust approach, and they execute their workouts with the help of their Garmin real time, because Strava and VDOT connect, and then you can run the workout that way real time if you prefer. If that turns you crank and that's the way you like to work, you can do that as well. And you always have those 3 choices of completing, like actively completing a workout, modifying it, or skipping it along the way as you go. Most of the time, though, I'll get to that now. So second point would be quality sessions. They drive they drive 85-90% probably, or close to that, of your training benefit and performance advancement. So they're really important. Make sure you read all the notes at the bottom of those quality sessions, especially early in the season, because you're getting used to new formats of workouts and new types, especially or when you change phases and go to new types of workouts, because there's nuances, there's finer points, so don't miss those along the way. And what else did I want to talk about there? Yeah, on those big big anchor workouts, those big anchor workouts, they can't be yet, though I've talked at length now with VDOT and we're pressing in them and we hope to have this in place. We can't, when we design your plan, we can't move those yet. And to fully customize it as we're building the plan, but you are more than welcome to and encouraged to move them after the fact once you have your plan. And so if you're lucky, they line up, and if not, you may have one or two swaps. The best to do that is on your computer. It's possible technically on your phone, but it's not ideal. So best to do that while your VDOT is like on the website is open. Do it there, and you just, you know, you put your intensity day on the day you do it, either with us or on your own, and move the other runs accordingly. This is a Saturday or Sunday run, and just pay heed to the hard easy rule for that other key workout. I guess for most of it be the OMP. Try not to bookend them or back to back them is really all we're asking. And then the rest of the workouts, let them fall where they may or where you want to put them. So there's a little bit of flexibility there, and I kind of like that. I think doing that for 5 minutes, it engages you. It you know, connects you to your plan for a few minutes. It sort of asks you to ask any questions about the workouts as you move them. You see them, and you know, you sort of give telegraphs. Oh my God, I've got a race pace this weekend. You get subconscious psyching up, and you know, maybe I'm going to be extra cautious on the day before. It does help, rather than just blindly, you know, waking up and looking at your watch and says, trying to do what it says. I think it's more of an interactive approach, if you will, because you have to do that, because you do have to often go in and shuffle your days around. Okay. So yeah, and if you're a virtuous coaching runner, it's also a great time to compose that once a week exchange about how my training is going and any questions I have about my training itself. Okay. I think we're pretty much there. Oh yeah. And so your VDOT score, which is essentially a snapshot of your current, you know, performance and speed, that we've set, and that in this approach with VDOT, it's a lagging indicator approach rather than our old regular or previous system, which was kind of a forward leading approach indicator. It dragged you along. This one stays where it is until you prove or petition your own advocate that you are fitter than your plan, and we move it based on that. So there's pros and cons to both sides, but I actually think I'm warming to this approach, and I kind of like it because it doesn't stress you out with, you know, increasing paces if you don't feel ready. It stays where it is until you kind of prove to us, to yourself, that you are, you know, there's a rift beginning and you're fitter than you plan. Having said that, just beating up on a workout is not a reason to say I think I'm faster than my plan. You should always be able to go beat up on a workout, especially certain ones like long runs. Not that you should do it, but you should always be able to. You should have that capacity to, and probably generally shouldn't, unless you're beating up on all your workouts equivalently. Then that's an argument that maybe it's time. The best indicators to change your VDOT and therefore forthcoming training plan paces is always going to be either a mid-season race. Another reason that normally under non-COVID times, it's a good idea to do mid-season races, but and there might be a few in the coming months, but if not, especially now, a time trial type of thing. You know, whether it's something as crucible as a mile trial, or something maybe a little more palatable like a 5K trial or a 10K or anything like that, where you prove you're even a couple of seconds, if you know, faster than your current VDOT profile in any of those measures. And all you do is you click on the VDOT circle on your computer website profile, and it tells you where we think, you know, we're assuming your fitness is. So if you want to go and challenge yourself, you think it's time, go ahead. We're more than happy. And we change them on a dime, and everything is seamless. It changes very quickly, and we up the ante on your training. But we won't do that without, you know, proof, if you will. Make sense on that side of it as far as things go? Yeah, and so I think that's about it. Oh, VDOT doesn't have heart rate capability to work that in. Most people these days, it seems, based on my experience working with runners, aren't tied to their heart rate, life and death. But if you are, or if it's very important to you, I'm putting this out there. I will have no problems. I will build you a support MHR, maximum heart rate equivalency, from our old system. just so you have that to line up your workouts with heart rate. Okay, so if that's still of importance to you, the offer is there. Just say MHR chart, and I'll know what you mean, and I'll send you one for your, the next month or more, couple months of your training. So you've got that on offer. And lastly, just remember that prescribed paces should go without saying maybe, but maybe it shouldn't. Maybe it should be a good reminder, especially when tough winter weather hits. Every workout in your plan is presumed to be under ideal conditions, both outside and inside, you yourself and the conditions outside. To the degree that they're not, progressive and sometimes severe adjustments should happen to pacing day to day. So make those, don't be afraid to, be encouraged to make those adjustments, especially once you've got a baseline on how a certain type of workout feels. Just execute that feel and then see what kind of degradation of pace it does because of footing and wind chill and any number of factors. Okay, so allow there to be flexibility on day to day and go from there. The only other things I want to mention on VDOT was, and this will delve right into Q&A, so have those ready. VDOT, many have said, and I found this and I've talked to them about it, they don't seem to be able to change it or even want to. It aggregates multiple runs. When you separate it out, warm up, cool down, and workout, it will put the whole kit and caboodle together and average the pace and the total distance. And so it is what it is, but we can always get the data, parsed the way we want it on Strava and Garmin, so not a problem. Just know that that's not you, it's the system, if that's happening. And make sure we're always connected on that. And if you have technical questions about it's not linking, I can't see something, if it seems more technical than training plan oriented, there is that contact right there on the site. And they're, in my experience, and I think a few of you have had to try and reach out. They're very good with, been very responsive with the technical side. Okay, so they'll help when they can. Let's see, any questions that you just unmute? Let's try that. If anybody has a question, and start into your question. Or as I asked for that, I'm going to look for. I think we're going to look for any other. Oh yeah, and if you do put in, that someone's saying about changing your VDOT, if you put in a race, in the proper manner, channel that in, add it to your profile, it will update. For better or for worse. So it can do that independently of us deciding to do that. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going through these. Anybody have any? Can't be that clear. Everybody's VDOT's amazing and there's no problems, no excitement. We've got a couple experts.
I have a question. It's Leslie.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey,
just a question on the last comment you made about how do you parse the run? Like I've got striders and warm up and a quality bit and a cool down. Like how do you want all that on Garmin? Do you want me to run it separately and then it'll upload itself, or do you just want me to continue to keep a watch going on that?
The short answer is I want you to do whatever is most comfortable for you, because as long as you get the meat of that sandwich on file, the OMP or the tempo or what have you, that's 90% of it. The rest is a bit of window dressing. Not to say it's not important, and you can approach it as you like. Those sometimes it freaks a couple people out to see it look like speed work after my long run or speed work, and it's just striders dressed up to put it out there, so to remind you, hey, I should do this if I can. So you don't have to record the striders. I usually don't myself. Sometimes I have. I usually do a spot check on striders where I'll take it and I'll treat it like a separate run file, and I'll start it. I'll hit split when I stop and start and stop and start, just so I can look at my average paces, just to check, am I in the ballpark of what my plan is advocating I do my striders at. So it's more of a check and verify than a real recording per se, because it's not going to be that much distance, but you can. So as much or as little as you want. I wouldn't get too hung up on it. Everybody has a different orientation.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Any other quick questions? I see one here from Nivea. V.02 free download. Yes, that's the one you want, not the old VDOT. You want the V.02. The other one will not recognize these custom paces that we've added. Great maybe final session or final point on that. We've added some new, that's what I was working on the last couple of months. Half marathon training plans now have P1-2 punch workouts, like very popular popular as an effective marathon training tool. So we have those translated now for half marathon. If you want to punch weekends where you do in 24 hours, you do a pile of mileage in a progressively quicker fashion. Only do those once a month on average, but they are a terrific fitness and strength builder for late race performance. Training paces for O&Ps are now, you have a hilly target pace and a regular flat target pace. So that takes some of the pace stress, I guess, for those that feel it off, rather than judging, knowing it's not sure if you're judging the slowdown based on pace for hilliness, right? This builds it into the system, so it should be a little better. Boston Marathon has a lot of notes about how to really ace the hills, specifically the downhills. So make sure you are reading those notes and trying as best you can to put them into practice in most, not all, but most runs. And even the P1-2 punch, I mentioned them there, all of them in marathon and half. The pacing progression prescription is much cleaner, much, I think, more effective, better now than it used to be, or in that system. So yeah, you get those pace ranges per third roughly of your buildup. And the 1 point for those that really do know this, it's fine if you don't yet. The middle third of your progression run, that average, go with the leading indicator if you feel you can, rather than treat it as because it gives you the pace range. You're looking at the target pace to begin with in the first phase, first third. Middle phase is the one I'm talking about. Go with the leading edge, the faster pace, if you feel you can. Build to that, and only use the other one if you're not feeling quite ready to go yet. So the middle case is the one there that I wanted to make a mention of. Yeah, I see any verbal questions? Oh, I think it's Rafi here. I got another question. Yeah, do not assume. You can put notes to your heart's content in your VDOT, but do not assume that I am reading them. I'm reading your weekly virtuous e-coaching messages, and I can see the Strava's comments a lot better, in fact. Okay, I might see the VDOT, but the reason is every time anyone touches their VDOT, I get a notification. So I literally have way over 100 every single day, every moment, notifications coming from VDOT. So I may catch one on an odd basis on my phone, but I'm generally where I'd like to see those notes put ideally in your Strava or your Garmin, and then just link me to it, or say, yeah, that worked it, and then you'll have and it's in the place we can always find it. Okay, so yeah, that's a good point about the VDOT. If you make notes in VDOT, it's for your edification, more or less, usually not mine. Okay, so good. I think if any questions on, because I know one or two of them might have to leave. Any questions on the app side, running your workout with and in real time from Garmin? Speak now.
Kevin, I wish there was a way that actually VDOT would update the actual stats for your workout. You can control it, which workout it's updating. Because so, for example, if I have a workout on Tuesday, but I do the Thursday's workout on Tuesday, it updates actually Tuesday, so it's the wrong.
Well, yeah, if you're not going to do the workout that's in your VDOT, I would always just skip. That's my mind. I wouldn't say, yes, I'll accept the workout and then go do something different, because you're right. It'll just try and square peg round hole it. Now we still have it on Strava, right? We can always still go back and go, oh yes, obviously you switched this day with that. No harm, no foul. But you have to either make that shift before you go and do the workout, or skip it or ignore it if you're going to do that, so that it doesn't conflate the two. Yeah,
I've been actually breaking down my workouts on Strava. So for example, let's say yesterday I did an LSD, but then I also did the stride. I also did the warm up.
Yeah,
I'm breaking it up each one. I don't know if that's more of a hassle for you, or actually.
I actually prefer to see warm ups treated as like a warm up, or I guess even a cool down, as a separate run.
Okay.
On Strava and Garmin. The one reason is because otherwise it lumps it all together, and it's harder to discern what your average paces were. I can do it, but you have to net everything out. It's some extra math. So that way you can segregate it right away. And the striders, don't do, if this goes for striders is one file, no matter if you do 2 or 7, always just one run file. Same thing goes, by the way, for intervals. Really start to use your split button bottom right. Don't record separate intervals on Strava and stuff. That's just probably an etiquette thing more than anything else, because then you'll feed tons and tons and tons of reps to all your running buddies. So you generally just want to compact it so that you don't ever put more than 2 or 3 runs maybe in a day for a file. That'd be a useful tip, probably one to grow on. Okay, cool. All right, just because we are pressed, I want to make sure we can try and get it out of here around the 7:45-ish. We've got maybe 10 minutes or so to talk Run Crew, right? MDI Run Crew. You saw some singlets and saw an explanation a few weeks ago, and then maybe a reminder this past weekend. What's this all about? It's a way, and it's been a long time coming, for us to foster a deeper relationship with the runners who, in the here and now, we're investing the most of our time, our expertise, our energy, our passion in, and that they are also investing back to us. Like, it's where the highest connection is. We want to try and elevate for those runners that we're at the time most connected with, and with those we have been most connected with, whether that goes back, it can be years. Okay, so it's meant twofold, to be sort of elevate the experience for those that we're working with right now the most, and also to provide a place, which it's the upstairs of the same house, if you will, let's say, for those that we've worked with for a long time, and who, either by elevating their ability as runners or just by rote and experience, they've gotten to the point where they either don't feel they need coaching in that active sense. They kind of self-actualized as a runner, but they do, they're part of, it's part of their fabric. They've spent years, perhaps many seasons, being a part of this. And so this way you can still do it. You can still be a part of the MDI Run Crew without investing, the effort and or the funds, the cost to be actively coached. Okay, so it's a way for both of those to support each other and be part of, I think, a pretty cool club. The goals of this club are team spirit, and that's, of course, the running and the social linked together, team races, theme runs, road trips, international, road trip races as well, both states and abroad in other countries. And yeah, emphasize that fun and togetherness. In terms of performance, that's another goal, yes, to help our members continually improve. And that's either in an absolute sense, simply put, get faster, or in an age category, age adjusted fashion. Once you get past a certain age, that could be an extraordinarily tough goal. And we embrace it thoroughly and heartily. So we want to see if we can help people do that as well. And or in terms of improving your lifelong enjoyment, enrichment, sort of experientially delving further into yourself as runners. All of those are great reasons to, in terms of, if I think of it as elevating your performance. Okay, and that's irrespective of whether you're predominantly a road runner. It could be even other areas that you may not have tried. It could be in track. Who's run a track race? Most of it not in many years, if not ever. It can be trail races, it could be cross country. So we wanted to give a little more formal structure to allow and encourage people to try those things, either just as for novelty, something different, or because they feel they have a passion for it, and they know they have, or they used to do it and they want to reinvest in it. And of course, for community as well, and I mean that from a running community side of things and a more general side of things as well. In our case, it's to support Start to Finish, the kids reading and writing after school program. It's national across the country, and we're going to donate 10% for starters, 10% of all of our registration fees from our club, and then also other more local running centric projects and objectives and initiatives, like water station and cheer stations, as we've done many years at the Sporting Life 10K or the Waterfront Marathon. Those kinds of water and cheer stations, both for ourselves and the larger running community in general. Those are what we're about: spirit, performance, community. It's going to be very inclusive, all ages, races, genders, orientations, for all speeds. It's speed blind. It's not about how fast you run versus anyone else. Sure, it's about helping, striving yourself to challenge yourself and become a better runner. But that's me yesterday versus me tomorrow. Okay, not you against anyone else. So it's not about how fast per se in absolute sense you run. Always be about relative improvement is really what we're getting after. So it's inclusive in those ways. It's exclusive in the sense that not anyone can just join from the running public. Okay, you either need to be currently a Marathon Dynamics coached runner or have been a Marathon Dynamics coach runner. And there's a couple of hurdles to clear, if you will, prerequisites on the, we'll call that the alumni side. So you either can do it one way or the other. But yeah, you just can't sign up and become a member of it, because we both want to view and incur that our philosophy, our practices, our principles, and have those that are members reflect those, know those, and demonstrate those as we go. Yeah, so you don't have to be a part of the MDI Run Crew to work with Marathon Dynamics. That was the other thing. We didn't want to oblige because you signed up for running services, coaching, training plan, whatever. We wanted to get away from that implicit, if you will, understanding that you must be, or any expectation of that. We want to take that away if it was ever there. So you're truly choosing to be a part of this. You can work with us without being it, and you can choose to be part of this group. Okay, so we wanted to make that clear. But once you are, if you're going to be a part of this, obviously, I hope you saw those purple star benefits. There's perks and privileges, and then a couple of, yes, responsibilities and obligations, if you will. We tried to make those as flexible as we could and at least onerous as we could to do that. What did we end up? We've got a Sunday run, or a group run, and we've got a couple in Toronto once a month. Hopefully more if you can, but once a month. Maybe it's just for your race paces or something. And even if you're out of town, beyond a certain, outside the GTA, it's flexible. We'll change it up. We've got alternate arrangements. It can be through Instagram, like social media posts instead, or some way to contribute and involve yourself, connect with other runners in our fold. And then, so that's number one, Sunday run group or alternate. Always wear your team singlet at least local races. You can make exceptions for international races for some, any number of reasons, that's fine. But yeah, for the local races, please wear our singlet. That's the expectation. And one of the following: either support a run crew cause, so these water cheer stations we're talking about, or start to finish initiative, or doesn't have to be that, or represent our club at a team race, which is like one of the biggie races, or like a team event, like a relay or something. In other words, for the team, either race or come and help at a race. So those are the three things. One of those per season. Okay, that's how it is. Normally, for an MDI runner, the cost, not this season, but for future season, would be $99, which includes the new singlet, which probably would be between. We don't have the cost yet, but it'd probably be a nice one, probably $40 to $45 at least. So it includes the singlet, so it's $10 a month in the future. And for the alumni, it's $139 plus, including the singlet, turns out to about $15 a month. Or sorry, $15 a month to be a part of this club if you're not going to have coaching. Okay, so there's different coaches, different fees for different arrangement to be part of it, and that's about it. For the singlets, I did want to make mention because I put those out there and I asked for feedback. Most of it's been great, which is wonderful, and we've had some constructive criticism, if you will, to think about if we want to make some probably slight changes to what we're doing. But to make it clear, those weren't 4 options of singlets. Those were two singlets back and front. Okay, there was a front and a back to the purple, and a front and a back to the silvery gray. Those were the 2 singlet types. And we were asking for impressions on the 2. The purple one is our main, our go-to, our club singlet. That's like for races and perhaps for special theme events and things like that. The other one, and you can run it more often, obviously, but the other one was meant more as like a second option, a maybe for training more often than racing. So your race one is good. You don't have too many pinholes in it, or it doesn't get sweat stained or too often. So you keep that one for good, and this one you do more training in. Or if you're purple phobic, it happens. Not in my case, but if you were, then yes, you could wear that one instead because it's basically gray or gray silver, just with the purple logo. Okay, so that was just to be clear. So I'm asking for any, and keep them coming, any comments on that, positive, negative, great, let's have it, because in a matter of a week, I think, we've got to get the order going. It has to go into production if we're going to get it back in time for the hoped and supposed Chile half marathon, just coming up pretty soon. Okay, so best I could, I got through most of what I wanted to say. Are there any questions? I'm going to look through the chat, but if you have one, unmute and blurt it out, because I still can't see everybody on one screen. Some of us have to wear our lucky singlet berets, old and sweaty. Oh yeah, well, I guess yeah, we'll go with, if you have a vintage MDI you just truly love and can't bear because it brings you fast times and great luck, I guess you can wear that one because yeah, it will be the same purple, I suppose. That's okay, but you'll need to replace it at some point. So get the new ones. Get the new ones at some point. Actually, you're getting it free this time around if you're part of the Run Club. And so yeah, that's, everybody's getting the free entry to the Run Club because we want to establish the members obviously right up front. So yeah, clarification there is, if you're in one of the weekly coach groups, you may not even know it yet. You're in the club. So make sure you look at those three, obligations, responsibilities. Make sure you can handle those, and let me know if not, because you're in the club. That's what we're doing. And then yes, we're also get all those benefits that we're hard at work to provide, including the sponsor halfbacks and there's a lot of them there. We don't have time to talk. They're in the email if you want to see them. Any last minute questions?
Yeah, Kevin, I have a quick question.
Yes, maybe.
This VDOT, do you set up our account and then upload your plan, or we set up the account and then?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Did I know we've just communicated yesterday, so I'm just getting started with you. Did I send you an invitation to coach on VDOT?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so that's the missing link. As soon as I do that, you'll see what's what, because then in that invitation, it gets you an account, and I link up and I provide your plan within your account.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Okay. Any other questions? Flipping. Wow. Okay. Well, within a couple minutes, I guess we're done. Yeah.
Kevin, there's
yes.
a couple of questions in the chat about cost and.
Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I thought I was done there. Can we get a copy of the video? I'm working up from the bottom. Yes, I will. I'm going to take the video. I'll post it to YouTube. Give you guys the link. Do you mean the video we just did, or that silly blue box video? I'll do both. So yes, it's wait. Sunnybrook Park, the meeting location. Yes, that is at the Sunnybrook Stables, about 2K in from the Leslie and Eglinton entrance. So Ron, I can follow up with you on that. Claudette Germain, 99. Yes, that's for 99. Oh, sorry, a good question. Those are prices per season. So $99 for the season, including your singlet. So it works out to about $10 a month for other than your singlet. And if you already have a singlet or a couple of singlets, we'll just give you that 40, whatever it is, $40, $45, the price of that singlet in credit toward any other gear, because we're just doing the singlets this season, but next season we hope to have nothing crazy, but a few other options in terms of long sleeve, or like we kind of have already, the jackets, the long sleeve, the arm warmers, the t-shirts, hats, who knows? We'll figure it out. Got a great designer here with Jen to help us with putting the gear together. So yeah, that's how that works. I think I've got it. Okay. So see many of you at one of 5 sessions, including tomorrow morning, minus 20 something. So dress warm if we're out there in high park. You guys get to run. I got to stand around. Maybe I'll run. Anyways, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's so crazy these days with everything you guys have on at home and work that you were able to do this. Yeah, 40, some of us, that's almost half, I guess. We got about 90 low runners this year for this season. So maybe a little lower than usual, but pretty darn impressive given the circumstances. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the journey with every one of you ahead as soon as we begin. Okay. Thank you very much for coming, everybody.